There's nothing like tea or coffee in the morning on your front porch in the springtime. I'm very blessed to have today off. We have some family things going on this weekend that we need to get ready for, but I couldn't resist spending my morning out here on the porch. Since I'm drinking tea already, I thought about something that a good friend taught me just the other day. Apparently, lilac tea is actually a thing. I did not know this. So, the lilacs are in full bloom, so I thought, what better time to experiment with trying lilac flower tea? So let's go pick some. So we have exactly one lilac bush on our entire property right now. Well, actually that is not true, because let me show you. All these thin wispy shoots at the bottom, those are potential lilac babies. Like this one here, you can disconnect the roots and plant that. So I just dug up some more shoots like that and went and put them in different areas around the yard, which is pretty cool. Free plants are always a great thing. Most of these flowers are a bit over my head, but this is just an experiment, so I'm gonna just try just a couple of the ones down low. Try not to injure the plant too much when I pick. And these are new growth, so I'm gonna try to limit what I take because I do still want this to have some growth for the year. These lilacs are filling our entire front yard with their beautiful scent. They're pretty short-lived, but we sure do appreciate them when they're here. I have actually no idea what color you call this, because this was planted, oh, probably about 20 years ago. And it's probably just as many feet high. I love the way the branches kind of bend and curve as they go up. I'm trying to plant some ornamentals under here. Shade tolerant plants. There's a lot of creeping Charlie, burdock, there's some wild rose, and I do have some rhubarb planted under here. And there's catmint, and then on the other side of that little berm, there's some yarrow that's just getting started. Here's something exciting. This is one of the wild gooseberry species, and it is absolutely loaded with flowers. And there's plenty of them, so I think I may cover this with some netting and see if we can't grab a few berries to try. We gotta steal them from the birds though. Oh, look what we have here. So last spring I planted about 25 ostrich ferns in hopes of being able to harvest some fiddleheads from the yard in the springtime. Just a few, just enough to have a taste. And they make for great ornamentals, but this is actually the first time I've seen one come up. I didn't see anything last year at all. I'm hoping that there's more than just this one, but I'll take a look and we'll see. Okay, and now for my pride and joy, my Pawpaws from Mount Vernon. I have 2 of them. And these are actually oh, maybe even like 3 years old right now. And they are still tiny. They're super duper tiny, but they're still growing, and that's what I want to see. I do have them adequately protected, so they have survived. And the leaves are just now starting to come out. And that says the General's Choice, propagated from plants grown at Mount Vernon. It's been a long-standing dream of mine to kind of get Pawpaws growing here. They are not the easiest things to grow in the world, and it's been quite a challenge. But one thing my close friends and family know is that you don't tell Katie she can't do something, or she goes and does it. I love a good challenge when it comes to growing or making or anything like that. So I did buy more pawpaw seed. And this is actually a year old, but it's still alive. It's tiny. It's only about 4 inches tall. But dang it, I got it to grow. This is becoming our sort of medicinal herb garden. And I have some flowers and things in here, some strawberry hydrangeas, but I have started marshmallow, and I've got some yarrow, and I am going to move the plethora of feverfew seedlings we have over here. And honestly, I probably will move the oregano because it is taking over my garden. In addition to the things that I've put here, there are also some naturally growing things. These are cleavers, and we've got catnip here. And of course, creeping Charlie, which I'll be honest, I did not know until recently was actually edible. And I don't see any at the moment, but I know that there is some motherwort in here. And then we have things like raspberry, and we've got wild grape. And then we have wild rose. And these do produce wonderful rose hips. It's a good sunny spot here, so there's always rose hips on this plant. And it's quite large, and I'm just going to leave it as it is. Oh, and we've got purple dead nettle. That's also edible. And this one's edible, but the name escapes me. And of course there's dandelion. And here are the spruce tips that we harvested earlier in the week. I'll take a few more of these. Not too many, just a couple. Now these are loaded with vitamin C, and they have a really unique flavor. Slightly sour on the front end, a little bit tart, almost like if you've ever had rose hip tea or something like that. But then the back end, there is that sort of woodsy pine. It's actually, it's spruce, but kind of the evergreen flavor. And they are used in desserts and like things like ice cream even, and they're also used in savory dishes. They're used in salads, they're used as greens, and you can flavor other foods with them. The tea is delicious, I think, in small amounts. But when you put these in hot water or cook them in any way, they do turn brown, so they lose that sort of wonderful bright green color. These are almost a tad old. They're just barely usable, whereas these are too young. They haven't come out yet. I mean, you can pull that off. But see the color difference, it hasn't greened up quite yet. It'll get there though. But yeah, so like this stage here is probably the perfect stage to pick them. So I've already harvested a bit. I'll just use this handful here to make some tea. It is really, really delicious. All right, let's go try our lilac tea. Oh, it smells just like the flower. That is quite delicious. How have I lived this long without knowing about lilac tea? I'll tell you. But you know what? Everything's better with a little honey. And yes, this is actually our honey too, which makes it even more amazing. That is a good spring morning right there. My love for tea came from my grandma Rosemary. She used to have tea parties with my sister and some cousins and I when we were little kids. And ever since then, I've just had a thing for it. The teapots and the teacups always remind me of her. I wish I could say these were hers, but actually Etsy is a really good place to find antique teacups. Just so you know, my grandpa used to pretend to be our butler at our tea parties. It was really precious. My grandma passed just over 10 years ago, and tomorrow we are actually laying her ashes and my grandpa's ashes to rest in their final resting spot, which will be pretty emotional, but I think it'll be really good. And this tea this morning just kind of reminds me that we take memories made with loved ones and traditions and even hobbies and interests with us as we go forward through life. And it's really wonderful that we have these things to remember people by. But I think my grandparents would be really, really happy that I'm sharing tea with you today. Take care, guys. Until next time, go enjoy some fresh spring tea. Take care.